game in the hands of Brusco. And I think, again, if you guys missed the performance of AFK's Kalea yesterday, which is banned out, so ONIC's going to read that, which is good because it would definitely be picked up first pick here. So what are we thinking first pick with all these bans?
I think Juicin is gonna be a good go-to if they want to. If they're gonna lean towards surprising flexibility, CC might come in as a surprise. But considering in the ECA region, they do put a lot of importance into getting the Juicin right away, and knowing that they're going up against a Super Friends type of mid laner, I think that would be a great first pick for excuse me, not Cyber Hero, but for Versal Time. I got confused. Cyber Hero was like right there under their name.
It's like right there. That happened to me yesterday. Don't worry.
So yeah, I'm backing on a Juice in here, but there's a lot of potential first picks that they could go for. They could go for Surprise Hilda. Actually, I think is actually a massive menace in the game. I wouldn't want them to consider something like Kimmy Rush. I think it's just Juicin or Hilda, unless there's another pick that I'm just blanking on right now. No, it's Juicin for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a great pick on both sides. We have seen Kochik play this as well, but obviously two Super Friends. So this is probably one of the safer options anyway, and it's also just you can build so many different compositions around this. So it's going to be ONIC Philippines that takes the Lapu Lapu and the Gatakacha instead, which same thing, man, same sentiments. Like there's so much potential to go ahead and set things up. Mind you, this is dangerous grass. So as you mentioned even earlier, like that Hilda, you could consider her being picked up here, even I would say for Verso time if they wanted to go that route. But the Lapu Lapu and the Gatakacha both able to provide pressure enough, I feel like, even to try to catch this Jushin, man, because one of the things about her is she's kind of hard to catch. She's able to get away out of like bad situations, even with the beacon and everything else. But that's one of the things. It kind of sucks to play the Gatakacha against the Jushin though, because once you pretty much use either the Unbreakable to get a little bit distance, your Revitalize is gone, or maybe the AOG, you're just constantly being dragged back while he's like slowly running away, and so there's gonna have to be some a little bit of finesse there to use this. But then there's the Hylos and the Harith that come through for Verso time here.
Yeah, the tough thing is ONIC PH forced to pick up their jungler now or forced to pick up the Granger now? Because you already see the Harith. I think there's a 100% chance the Cyber Hero, or excuse me, it got me, Verso time, is going to take out the Granger if it's still not picked up here by ONIC Philippines, because that's like the best one that you could go for in terms of matching the damage. If it's not going to be the Granger, then Kelra's going to be stuck with something along the lines of either a Bruno or a Claude as his gold laner pick. I muttered under my breath earlier high loss as well for Cyber Hero. Verso time.
Dude, you got by the end of this draft, you got it.
Yeah, I'll get it. Because they keep banning out the high loss for the first two games, and now more importantly, the high loss and the Juicin together are a great pairing up against a Gatakacha and Lapu Lapu. Of course, the slow being brought down by the Glorious Pathway, and most importantly, now that they all spread it up with the Harith already has great backup. In terms of just dropping down the Zaman force and being able to fight comfortably while the opposing team is uncomfortable. So ONIC PH decide, you know what? If we're going to lose the Granger, it's okay. We still have two, maybe even potentially three options if ONIC PH decide to go for something off-kilter like a Beatrix as well, alongside the Claude and the Bruno options. So now they also pick up the Lancelot in the first phase, which I think is a little bit more safer. And I like how now this time around, ONIC Philippines is respecting Verso time's capability of potentially picking up the Akai.
I like how you slowly said that.
Yeah, just to make sure I get it right
in the memory there. But yeah, that's pretty much what it is. There's the Fredrin ban too. We saw the Fredrin pop up from Verso time yesterday as well, and so they're going to be forced. Is it just a YSS that we're essentially just going to see, the YSS Lancelot matchup that we're used to seeing? And so on this swing, what do we see here picked up here for ONIC? Did they go?
I think a Farsa would be good, but I want to see them try and surprise, maybe even consider something like a Valir. I think would be really spicy, considering that you're up against the Harith and the high loss. However, if we're going to look at tendencies, Farsa and Eve are the most possible picks here for Super Friends. But I think they're also thinking about, wait, they banned out the low E instead. If it's Farsa or the Eve, that means Verso times prepared for that, or they're willing to just trade that out. I think there's still a potential of a Valentina to pop up somewhere, but I just
Mm,
can't visualize it. Oh wait, no. Um, there's already a juice in on the side of Verso time, so oh wait, oh yeah, Kimmy, okay.
yeah, Kimmy Ganaconcha, crowd control that's going to work out. Plus, you already have a good damage spread with the Lancelot being the jungler here for ONIC Philippines. And, if there is anything, too, you can take what happened in game one. And, King Kong's always got the potential to go ahead and steal the
Mm-hmm.
objectives on that Lancelot. The Guinevere is going to come out again. So it's literally go again on
Yeah.
this one on the Guinevere, and then of course you've got
Oh,
Castle on the Arlot. But there's the Esmeralda. We've seen Kelra do this before. We see gold laners like to pick up this Esmeralda right now,
yeah.
and this is interesting because yeah, again, even the previous game, I just feel like that Guinevere wasn't able to really do too much. So maybe this is once again another shot at making it work out
Yeah.
here in this team composition.
Yeah, it's a great composition by Versatime. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like the Esmeralda here might have just won the draft for ONIC Philippines if Kelra and ONIC can play this right, because they need to find a balance of rotating, of making sure that Kelra is comfortably keeping the Harith at bay, or not or, but and at the same time, also making sure the Super Prince is comfortable at the center of the map, being able to get farm, considering that he's one of the main carries of the team. But if you look at it this way, there's actually four options for a carry here. You don't think of Esmeralda as a damage carry, you think of
Mm-hmm.
her as just an unkillable presence that needs to be looked at by Verso Time, which, if Keller has a great game here, it's gonna spell huge problems for Verso. I feel like ONIC just has a lot more options to go for in terms of, let's say King Kong doesn't have a good time, then you have the Kimmy and the Esmeralda to follow up, and vice versa. While for Verso time, it's clear as day they're looking at March to carry the game for them, and for maybe Castle to show up with some heroics.
Yeah, I think it's got to be more than just Castle this time around, and like he was trying to do similar things in game two, and it was
Mm.
unfortunate because he just wasn't able to, like, that team composition that was all mostly crowd control, like just wasn't able to go ahead and capitalize off of that. So but Castle, now that he has his Arlot once again, and then you throw in like a little bit more of that utility with the Jushin and even the Harith, like the Harith can scale up pretty good into this. But my biggest question mark is still with Justinian on this Guinevere, if he's able to go ahead and actually, have a much better game and maybe even pathing that he can get the Guinevere going or at least contest, because that's the other thing to take in consideration. Is like I said with the King Kong's Lancelot here, we've seen it so many times. King Kong doesn't have to be a part of those fights if he doesn't want to. So I think that's a big thing for Verso time here.
Yeah. We're seeing the pressure being applied just as always by Versatile Time in the center. A lot of control there, but King Kong shows up early in the center to help equalize in terms of the damage. I think he'll be able to get the Little Wander without a problem here, as Justinian is still in the Golem and he gets it very quickly. He'll also be able to get the EXP scroll. Yep, he was the one able to get it. So the rotation for ONIC, very precise. Just get King Kong to level 4 as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Guinevere, it's a little bit slower, obviously, compared to a Lancelot. But again,
Mhm.
your main part is you're trying to get those things set up around these objectives with the spatial migration, eventually the Requiem. Like their crowd control opportunity is pretty massive still. And I mean, the same can be said over for ONIC Philippines. So it's more so like getting those timings down. And I feel like if you look at the past two games we've had objectively, it's more so been okay for Verso time. Like beside that one lineup in game two that was or game one that was so much the timings had to be perfect there. Like they still fight around the chaos like pretty well. And maybe that's just a proof of what they've been to.
Oh,
Whoa, speaking of, Justinian will take out King Kong with the Guinevere there. It looks like he did. I know we missed it a little bit on the camera, but it looks like he got the setup with the spatial migration.
yeah, they didn't even need the final slash from Castle there. I think that was just a straight up stun from him with a Dauntless Strike. And now Versatime will get this turtle without a problem. That's the start that they want to have and not the start that ONIC PH wants. However, we did say earlier, if King Kong falls off. He has 2, maybe even 3 more options to lean towards to, because at this point, yes, even the Lapu Lapu is considered a carry for this lineup and the damage that it can dish out, especially paired up with an Esmeralda. But look at Castle. He is just so confident.
Castle's just doing work. He went 1v2 for the longest time until eventually AFK comes up. Castle, once again, just showing how good of a player and mechanics that he has on these heroes that he brings out. Even the Arlot, very comfortable on this hero, and he'll survive that. So still, that's time spent up in that lane for ONIC Philippines to try to make something happen, and it doesn't. So Verso Time will hold on to a very small lead, but so far you can really see that they're just comfortable moving around the map. Justinian having a much better start previously, so I think that's going to be a big part to this game to kind of open up that opportunity for them, especially leading into the next objective when we get there.
Yeah, them being able to really take down King Kong before that first turtle set the tempo in favor for them. But because of how much faster this Lancelot can clear the jungles compared to the Guinevere, it seems like doesn't feel like it really hurt King Kong individually, just hurt the team's effort as a whole. And now, Verso Time still applying the pressure towards the jungle of King Kong, already forced to use the Retribution. They're not going to be going for the invade towards a purple buff. They think it's a little bit too risky. But yeah, it's a Verso Time setting the tempo with them actually finding the more forward positions in terms of being able to get the vision in the opposing jungle. They are the ones controlling the river. And now you even see Justinian still hanging around to where King Kong is to really just track his movement. Seems like it's hard for King Kong to get around without Verso Time knowing where exactly he is. Another 2v2 here in the EXP lane.
Yeah, they're going to rotate up. Oh, Brusco. He'll be able to jump out, though. Avatar of the Guardian down, and good timing. Turtle is up. So that's actually a pretty big resource that's not a part of the opportunities to set things up for ONIC Philippines now. So they're going to have to rely on what they have. Kirk's going to go ahead and jump in, but now still around this turtle. Kelra, he dealt with that glorious pathway, still fighting for the turtle down. Less than half health for this one. AFK goes in. King Kong, though, will get the turtle. There's a final slash coming through from Castle. Kirk's going to be the one to fall. A Revitalize is going to be popped. They're going to chase down Kelra as Kelra gets taken out as well by Justinian and Brusco, just trying to get away. But it's Castle all over the place as Justinian will get the kill. Verso Time comes out huge in that one.
Castle is way too good at MLBB. It's as if he's been playing for close to 5 or 6 years now, which he has been actually. So we are just seeing the culmination of everything that he's gone through in his career in this game, in this tournament, rather. Now with March even able to break down the tower down bottom. Castle, though, mistimed the aggression. Now Kurt gets a clap back. March gets spotted out by King, but he'll be able to get away.
There's the stun, but there's going to be no follow through. A little too dangerous as Kelra joined the lane. Could have been worse, if March goes down to King Kong there. But yeah, I guess, Castle, a little bit of a mistake there, ends up getting taken out. But still, ONIC Philippines needs to do a lot more work here. They're going to work on this bottom tier 1 turret, trying to take it down. Kojik's going to be zoned out a little bit. He'll bring Brusco over the wall, but they still maintain that turret, keeping it together. Verso Time just holding on to this little bit of a lead that they built themselves. I'm not sure if they'll continue to work on that turret. It's going to be whittled down now. Castle once again. Castle and Kirk. Bravest Fighter going to be used. Nice dodge from Castle, utilizing all that mobility that comes with this Arlot.
So good. Very entertaining battle in the EXP lane between Kirk and Castle right now. Of course, with all the mobility, as you mentioned, much easier for Arlot to actually survive that. More difficult. There is some significant upswing time for the key abilities of a Lapu Lapu, while for the Arlot, it's just instant gratification that you get right away. Third turtle, let's see who's going to be able to get this. ONIC Philippines, they were able to equalize in the bottom of the map. They really needed to force breaking the turret down bot. Here comes ONIC, but here comes Verso.
Let's see what they can do. Brusco up on the front side, fighting for this last turtle of the game. Verso March now joining the fight too on this Harith. They'll try to get that zoning potential against ONIC Philippines. They're holding that turret. They're holding the turtle. No one's going to commit to it just yet. Verso March clearing that mid wave. They're going to get the Revitalize out of Brusco, though. as he pops that glorious pathway, going to be dropped down. They're going to go for Brusco once again as he defensively jumps on out with the AOG. Now Castle going to be the focus, has to flicker himself. He's got Kojic there. There's the final slash going to be used. Brusco has nowhere to go as he falls. First one down for ONIC Philippines. They're going to chase down here. There's a little bit too much. Kelra jumps in with the falling Star Moon, and now Castle on the hunt again. He'll burn the flicker from Super Prince. All this fight for that turtle, and neither team able to commit to it just yet. A couple bodies fall, and now they finally make their way. Verso time will start it up. Whoa, Kirk is able to find Verso March up in that top lane.
Crucial pick-off, slight advantage for ONIC, but the other members of ONIC can't get close enough to this turtle as Verso time will get it without a problem.
Oof. Turtle secured here, Justinian. Now Kirk going to be on the run, relying on Brusco to join him. Goes in with the Unbreakable. Kirk still alive. Brusco, but Castle, whoa, Kirk evades that dauntless strike with that Bravest Fighter. A good play there to stay alive.
It is very entertaining MLBB with these fights, and the fights aren't even messy. It's you really see them ticking their conditions. ONIC PH pulled away from that fight initially because they wanted to get a falling Star Moon off from Kelra. Then they re-engaged, but then the chaining of crowd controls from Verso time meant that ONIC Philippines weren't as comfortable in terms of dealing the damage, which means that they just walked away with a kill. But then Kirk was able to salvage that with being able to find March under the turret up top. But then Versus Time still clapping back, knowing that they can, knowing and understanding the respawning timers to force Kirk to go back, almost taking him down. Fantastic trading all around. This has just been a tremendous series and a tremendous game number 3.
Oh, fighting in the mid lane. Okay, Kirk. He's going to be fine. He'll drag Kelra back around. He is tanky. Ooh, final slash. Won't be able to clear out Kelra on that glorious pathway. I'm not sure if ONIC wants to go ahead and fight back. It looks like they'll just go ahead and be happy that the initiation didn't go the way Verso time wanted it to.
Yeah. ONIC PH now, still they cannot seem to get on the right groove, while Verso time is still very much more comfortable and in the zone. Have a slight lead over ONIC Philippines in terms of the gold. EXP as well favoring them. But despite everything that has happened, King Kong actually has the EXP lead over Justinian's Guinevere, who is still standing at 4-0-1 though. And there is still the ever-looming threat of the Harith. With ONIC Philippines not getting any team fighting wins, they can't do the same macro shenanigans that they were doing in the previous game.
Justinian jumping in with a spatial migration. Not going to pull the trigger, though, on the Requiem. And now Kirk jumping in with the Bravest Fighter. Castle on the backside. He goes in with the final slash again for Brusco. Papa the Revitalize. He's on the backside against Super Prince. Super Prince can't get away. Good usage of the Vengeance. Castle once again joining the fight here in the mid lane. Justinian jumps out. Kojic was taken out, too. And King Kong using the Retribution for AFK. He goes in with a puncture, able to clean up the kill, but it's Kelra that gets
Castle.
it. And now King Kong finally goes down. Castle is just doing work on that backside, and now Kelra on the run. March here alongside Justinian. He jumps in with the spatial migration. Kelra, though, still has the shields, though. They're just going to work against him in the Zaman Force. He's still got enough shields. Kelra knows he can take the fight against Verso March, and that's what the Esmeralda does so well. Justinian and Castle, though, I don't think they can take care of Kelra. They're going to have an answer for him later on in this game.
Exactly what we were talking about in the draft, Naisu. You don't expect it to carry with damage, it's just you expect it to carry through its sheer presence. So the beauty of the Esmeralda pick into the Harith. But these fights are way too difficult and way too long for ONIC Philippines. And even though they were able to take down March there, they also still have another problem to deal with. It's not just the Harith, it's mainly the Arlot as well. 0, 2, and 3 for March, but Castle has been an absolute menace, making Super Prince's life a living hell in this game number 3.
You know, Super Prince not having a good time, man. I mean, Castle is everywhere. It's just like, you know, whether he has the flicker available or not, he's there. He's where he needs to be for the team, and it's causing havoc. Again, he's going to go 1v4 here. He might have bitten off a little bit too much. Final slash has Kojic. The rest of the team comes in with the conceal. Castle's going to re-engage to the backside. They're going to force the fight anyway. He's going for him, and it's Kirk that falls first. Kelra still shielded up. He's going to join the fight as well. King Kong looking for a pick here. Castle has to back away. They go back for the re-engage. They choose the fight. They'll take out King Kong, and they're going for more. Castle jumps in up under the tier 2 turret, trying to catch Super Friends, just zoning them out. But again, Kelra, unkillable for now, thrown up into the air. They have no answer for Kelra as he's just dancing in front of them as he goes in forward. A glorious pathway dropped down. Castle still up, but that's going to be it for now.
ONIC PH cannot find wins. Yes, the Esmeralda is a presence, but again, we just said it, man. It's the Arlot, it's Castle, it's everything that he's done for Verso Time and everything he continues to do. There's a reason why Castles, even after so many years, still stands strong, living up to the namesake, Lord being fought for.
What's going to be fought for? Who's going to be able to grab it? Justinian will get the Lord after it all, but can they survive the fight? Justinian still on the run. Castle as well. They drop down the glorious pathway. A jump from Brusco with the AOG. He goes in. He's able to find March with the Unbreakable. Now Kojic has to get out with the beacon. I'm not sure if they're going to continue this on. Castle just holding him down. Kelra jumps in with the falling Star Moon. Under it all as King Kong joins as well. They drag him back. They knock him into the air with a spatial migration Requiem combo. Finally taking out Kelra. And Castle the fight again with the final slash. He's on the hunt for Super Prince, but he might have been a little bit too overextended as he's punished, and finally it goes down. But another re-engage. A glorious pathway drop down. Kirk has to get out, but King Kong comes through.
Wow.
He'll clean up a couple kills himself, and ONIC Philippines wins that fight.
What a series, what a game, and what a fight. So many things were traded out there. The sheer presence, again, of the Esmeralda. Super Friends this time doing a little bit better job of staying alive here. Not so easy for Verso Time to take down. But again, the problem is, yeah, they have so much sustainability, but ONIC PH doesn't have the raw damage output that Verso Time has. And survivability alone that is being carried by this Arlot because of how powerful a skill Vengeance is, the second skill of that Arlot.
He's able to go ahead and bait them for this fight. It's Justinian that goes down. Again, that's part of Kelra's job with this Esmeralda. Sometimes it's just be a distraction for Verso Time to chase him down.
Also, right now for Verso Time, an unsung hero here 100% has to be the Juicin, and it has to be all of the crowd control being dished out by the mid laner of Verso Time. It wrecks the tempo of ONIC Philippines and team fighting just enough. It buys them just a few seconds or so of breathing room to equalize in terms of the damage, bring ONIC down low, and then they can survive a little bit longer through it. But unless this Arlot goes down first, ONIC Philippines will have to work so hard for their team fights. They have a Sky Piercer on this Kimmy, but of course Super Friends cannot get kills. It's way too hard. But with the itemization of Kelra going from Radiant Armor to the Guardian Helmet and now even the Chastise Pauldron, maybe this is just going to help a little bit more. There's 2 Chastise Pauldrons already even, so because Kirk built one as well for himself.
Yeah, we'll see if it's enough. I feel like look how close it's been. Whoa. Going to catch out Kojic. Kojic popping the beacon. He does have the flicker now available. It wasn't earlier on, but that traction pulse able to help out. Lord's going to be up here shortly, and that's what I'm saying. Oh, again, instead of King Kong's the one to go down. Justinian able to find King Kong at the right moment, and Lord is up now. So without a jungler, ONIC Philippines is just going to have to delay this take if they decide to go for it.
Yeah, they back off immediately. They know that there's no way that they can healthily contest this Lord. Brusco spots out AFK and March, but Verso Time will take control of this, and I wouldn't be surprised if they get this Lord without a problem. ONIC will try and bait out something.
Oh, again, forcing this fight. Kojic now could be in trouble. Kirk chasing him down, still with the Lord being worked on too. They're going to force the fight anyway. Zaman Force already dropped down. ONIC Philippines, they stopped them. They stalled them out from taking the Lord, but they're going to continue the fight as Brusco falls, trying to go ahead and keep them at bay. And now Lord is up. They bought enough time for King Kong to be up, and that's exactly what ONIC Philippines wanted to do to stop Verso Time from taking that Lord.
Yeah, for ONIC Philippines, them building a little bit more Chastise Pauldrons, considering that these team fights are going way too long than they should be, it's the right item because of that redemption passive. When you go below 30%, you regain around 60% of your HP back over a period of time, and that's what they need. They need to be able to extend these fights and let Kelra do work.
Kirk jumping in. Bravest fighter?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure if they wanted to take that fight or not, but Kirk jumping on in after all that was expended, and now this is a free pass to just take the Lord after that. So Verso Time fought for this objective, they did the work, and hey, they got the Lord.
Yeah, right before that really long sequence, we were just pointing out about how Juicin has been also an unsung hero in this game, and that definitely proved true in the previous engagement for that long take for the Lord. But now here comes Verso Time with a chance to end this in game number 3 and go to the grand finals before ONIC and before EVOS, the hometown heroes in St. Petersburg.
Oh, right now, working up on this top turret just to clear out the waves. Lord's going to be making its way down the bot, so Verso Time will have a opportunity to go ahead and start knocking down some of these base turrets of ONIC Philippines. Taking a look at the items here, too. You know, it's been relatively an even game across the board here for the most part. A little more defensive items being picked up. A glorious pathway dropped down under the mid-base turret of ONIC Philippines as they clear out the wave. Still managing the waves really well here so far. This Lord is making its way there. We'll see if Verso Time decides to force a fight again. That opportunity is always there with Castle on this R-lot if they choose to go ahead and start the fight. They manage these waves really well as that bottom and the mid will be pushing in. Kelra out facing it all. They're going to have to force it. Brusco getting knocked up with the spatial migration. The Zalman forces drop down too. Brusco's going to be gone. Lord's
damage.
Knocking on the base. King Kong's going to hold it there. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, they're still going to be breaking it out. Castle has to flicker out defensively himself as Kirk is gone. So without Brusco and Kirk, ONIC Philippines, 3-man defense for now. King Kong jumps in, trying to take out Kojic, but he falls in the exchange, and now it's Kelra and Super Prince in Verso Time. Might be making it their time instead of ONIC time. They take down Kelra as well, and they'll make it happen in Game 3. The hometown heroes will go on forward to the grand final.